I love you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Drink.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for a little bit, and you're going to continue with CNN. But let me tell you this.
Blistering attack on the Democratic.
No. Before they start talking,
up.
I'll give it to you really simply. The biggest difference between Joe Biden and President Trump, the biggest difference between the crescendo of the DNC and the RNC, the Republican convention, was a love letter to the United States of America. Yeah. The DNC was a Dear John letter.
Yeah.
That's the difference. One loves America, one accepts our history, flaws, virtues, and all, and the other rejects the idea of American exceptionalism. If you believe that America is a flawed country but pretty damn good and you're proud of it, you vote Republican. If you believe that America is a broken toy that you should observe from afar and then send Joe Biden in to fix it, a 47-year career politician, you vote Democrat. It's a really simple contrast at this point. Let's hear what they're saying there at CNN.
No American president has ever accepted the nomination of his party from the White House. It was thought to be inappropriate, a violation perhaps even of the Hatch Act to have White House individuals.
He accepted it from the White House. I thought you wanted him to stay home, you silly bitch.
By the way,
quarantine at home. I'll accept the nomination from home.
What?
I'm
By the way,
sorry.
you know who thinks it's not a violation of the Hatch Act? Every lawyer that works for the White House.
Yeah, and
They asked the counsel's office.
Not for the White House.
Yeah. Well, they asked the counsel's office and said, "Hey, can we do this?" And they're like, "Yep, you can."
He talked about tonight how 9 million jobs have been created in 3 months, without mentioning, of course, that in the previous 2 months before that, 22 million.
Because you mention it every single hour on the hour like your ticker. So someone needs to mention that we actually have had record job creation and we had record low unemployment, including for the black community, before the COVID pandemic hit. Someone else needs to mention it because that's swimming upstream. That's going against the grain. You constantly talk about how America is doomed. You constantly talk about how we are not an exceptional nation. You constantly talk about the unemployment and the jobless claims that have happened in COVID. You never talked about the unemployment rate and labor force participation rate before COVID. You never talked about the record low black unemployment rate. You never talked about the record high approval black vote for President Trump. I think it was 36%. I don't know what it's 32 or 36%. You never talked about it. The best we get from you and Don Lemon is you going on there and saying, well, you know what, we need to switch tact here because the riots are hurting us in the polls, and then you don't tell us which polls.
Yeah, Jake Tapper is petrified that for a moment you might be happy.
Yes.
That for a moment after that speech you might love America and be excited for the future of it.
Yeah, petrified for a moment that you might actually understand that the United States is uniquely responsible for ending slavery. And people say, well, what about in England? Look into the British Empire, you dolt.
Yeah, and look how bad things are right now. That's their thing. Remember the coronavirus, guys. Don't forget, right? Don't forget, by the way, that the CDC never in its history has ever recommended masking healthy people, saying that it would do anything to stop the spread of a virus. And yet, one of the first things they put on is they didn't have masks on.
They didn't wear masks.
Why didn't they wear masks? I don't know, because maybe they wanted to aspirate greatness.
That good American air.
I think the CDC actually came out and said it's actually bad for people that are healthy to wear masks. It's not good.
I think I taste exceptionalism. I prefer February exceptionalism. I don't like December exceptionalism. You're going to shoot up the school, Charlie Brown. Let's
wow. Man, it's dark.
He delivered the kind of speech that his
Look, he kissed the kid on the head. He didn't sniff him.
Desperate for him to be doing when it comes to the strategy.
Desperate.
For
Come
him
on.
to win re-election, and more importantly, to do that by really throwing the toughest punches as he possibly can rhetorically against Joe Biden.
Think of how crazy that is. The toughest punches, the haymakers being thrown, is basically the idea, this crazy notion that the United States is a great country. You know how they had Dana White speak on here not long ago, the president of the UFC?
Yeah.
Do you realize that the United States, the American people, are the only people who cheer the man of the most impeccable character going into a fight? Do you realize that if an American fighter is a douchebag and the Brazilian walks in, Americans will cheer the Brazilian? That happens nowhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Do you realize that when fighters go to Brazil, American fighters have to have, even if they're nice guys, they have to have armed security details and armored helicopters, and they chant, when Jose Aldo went into the cage, they chant, "We will kill you." Do you understand that the nationalism in every country not named the United States of America is not only more rigid, less flexible, but it's also inextricably tied to a racial identity. Do you understand that we're the only country who behaves this way? Do you understand that we are the only country right there who cheers on our police officers, who cheers on record low unemployment, who cheers on the idea of supporting law enforcement, who cheers on the idea of supporting the worker and tax breaks for families, and the idea of race doesn't ever enter into the equation of our minds? And I know you'll say that that's a blind spot, that's privilege, and that's racism. You are incorrect. What he just talked about when he talked about serving the African American community as opposed to pandering, the Democrats have taken an approach of affirmative action. Hey, let's give you what you deserve that you haven't earned to members of the black community, like booting some Asians from Harvard. Get the hell out of here, Yang. Right? Whereas this guy just talked about creating an economy and tax breaks that are entirely blind.
Yep. Yeah.
That are devoid of taking into consideration race, gender, creed, and it improved the lives of all Americans. That is unique. That is not something you saw for 8 years under Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Something you didn't see for Barack Obama's reelection. His general sentiment was, things are still really bad, but it's Bush's fault, and you need me to finish the job, and here's what I'm going to do for blacks. Here's what I'm going to do for Muslims.
And
Donald Trump, his message has been, look at what we've done together.
America.
We're better and stronger than ever, and we're a great and strong country historically, and we've done it by bringing all people up equally. That is unique. You may not like the guy, you may not like his tweets, and I agree with you on some of that, but that is something that we haven't seen from the DNC. It's not something that we've seen from a recent Democratic president, and it's not something that CNN can even possibly compute. So take that into consideration when you're going into their fact checks. The summary here, we're about to go announce our costume winners exclusively on Mug Club.
Yeah.
And finish this up with our presidential elections. The promo code is Crowder RNC Stream. You get $20 off if you join at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub. The drinking game
It's
really
too much beer.
It's
Jeez.
too much patriotism.
Wow.
I can't handle the winning. Just hook the losing to my veins. To yang my yin. So it really is. This was a love letter to the United States of America.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the DNC, if you have the time tonight and you want to stay up late, go back and watch the DNC. That was a Dear John letter. That was, let's abandon everything that has made America, America. Sorry, bye. This is a party and a man who truly loved the United States of America, flaws and all. And you know what? Any healthy relationship should include that. Anyone who believes, this is also the Hollywoodizing of any country, is what they do with marriages. If you love me, you'll love me the way I am. Any man who doesn't just think you're perfect doesn't deserve you. No, you know what the truth is? All people are flawed. You enter into a marriage and you love and appreciate and serve your wife despite the fact that she is imperfect. You still write her a love letter. You still give her gifts on your anniversary. You still treat her with love, tenderness, kindness, because the Bible tells you to, but also because you understand that all people are flawed. That's how conservatives view the United States of America. We accept Lady Liberty for all of its greatness and its flaws and look to improve that for all people. Yeah. Now, the left looks at the United States of America and they look at it just like a rom-com, which is pornography for women. Either someone is perfect or you change them. You make them perfect. That's not how the real world works. No country is perfect. No people is perfect. But we've done pretty damn good here in the United States of America. Pick a country where anyone has it better. Sweden, Norway, Finland, no. Okay, I'm sorry. Canada, fuck off. The United States is the greatest country that has ever existed on the face of the earth.